I've sworn off movie theaters, or at least I did for a while, and I really wasn't planning on going back, and mostly because I was just sick of seeing big budget films with large crowds and dealing with noisy people. Like I'd fallen out of love with it, to be totally honest. I used to go, every weekend for a couple of years, and then it was a couple months, then it was a couple times a month. Um, but I left open the possibility that I would go for an independent film or something that wasn't going to draw like a huge crowd. And I heard about this film called Tar when Kate Blanchett interviewed on Hot Ones, and of course I hadn't seen anything about it. And her passion about the film made me interested in it, and I knew that it was about a conductor, and then I saw a poster for it. I didn't watch any trailers. I didn't even read a synopsis. I went in almost completely cold to the film. um, and I I'm still a little befuddled. Like this movie's gonna stick with me for a while, and I didn't want to just set up my usual like camera spiel or just record in my car because I thought about the film on the way home. I took a shower. I made my bed. I made a late night snack for me to eat here in a bit. Um, but is the film good? It's great. It might even be phenomenal. Um, I could also see people really hating this, like not liking it because it doesn't offer easy answers. But there is a story in there, and Kate Blanchett's performance is it might be my favorite of hers. Whether or not you like the story in the film or your interpretation of it, I I would challenge you not to be enthralled by her performance in the film. She's excellent. And I mean that didn't surprise me one bit. I've liked her in everything that I've seen her in, but I think this might be her best work acting wise. And I totally bought that she was a conductor in an orchestra. And from her discussions on Hot Ones, it seemed like she prepared a lot for this film. And um, wow, I mean, it's really well acted all around, and it's a kind of film that you have to pay attention to. Like you can't be on your phone. Like this thing that you're watching me on right now, probably. You don't be that person. You can't be that person that looks, that plays Candy Crush or whatever while you kind of passively listen to a movie. Um, and especially don't do that if you go see it in theaters. But if you wait for it to come out on home video, I invite you to give the film your entire attention, um, because it doesn't. Because I don't even really want to say like what I think the movie is about because I think that could be a potential spoiler. But I mean, it clearly has something to say about today's culture when it comes to art, whether it's music, film, um, or just art in general, paintings and whatnot. Um, and it doesn't like take sides. Like it doesn't take like a conservative side. It doesn't take a liberal side. It's not even completely in the middle. It goes like all over the place, and it's not in a way that it where it doesn't make sense. It's done. It feels like it's done on purpose in a way that um, it wants to sort of challenge the audience because it's almost like Todd Fields, the director, knows that you know people have very diverse opinions on things like separating the art from the artist. And I guess mild spoilers. I'm not going to spoil any of the major plot points, but I go see the movie or watch it if you're watching this in the future, and then come back if you want to hear the rest of what I have to say. Overall, I think the movie's great. It'll be something that I'm excited to revisit. I might even go see it a second time, Like I was the only one in my theater when I went to go see it, which was both great and sad. Great because there was no noise whatsoever. I didn't have to worry about babies crying. I didn't have to worry about people's phones going off. Uh, you know, going to the theater was a very stressful experience for me, and that's why I stopped. And lo and behold, of course, I'm getting texts. Um, and it's also sad because it's. I know this film isn't getting the attention it deserves, whether people love it or hate it. Um, it's a shame that Blanchett's performance, mine, it's a Criterion Collection movie that I think that I could see it potentially being, and I I was just I'm nearly speechless. I think I might even love the movie. Like at first I didn't know what to think, um, but I encourage you to go see it and to make up your own mind. But continuing on to what I think the film is about for those that I guess don't care or that have seen it already, I think the film's themes are very heavily on cancel culture. And before you roll your eyes, like I alluded to earlier, it doesn't favor one side, at least not from my point of view. I'm sure there are people that saw the film that think, "Oh, well, it's for cancel culture," and then there'll be a different person that's like, it's completely against cancel culture. And there are the people like me that think it's a little bit more in the middle, but sometimes it goes back and forth, and no answer is right. Like I mean, the character of Tar has is teaching a class and is having a conversation about a classical musician, and one of the students is like, well, I can't appreciate this person's music at all because of the way he treated women. He was just some old white dude to me, and as a colored gay person, I can't support this artist. And she counter argues that, well, this art has influenced musicians for years, like well over 100 years. And from her point of view, the you should be able to separate the art from the artist, especially when they've influenced music for so long. And she's very much against throwing out the baby with the bathwater, so to speak. and the student is very much like, I don't feel comfortable with this music, and I don't think it should be celebrated. And that's and there's no easy answers for that sort of thing. Like, I mean, think of how many comedians were inspired by Bill Cosby. I mean, there was a lot. I mean, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy, they likely didn't know the piece of shit he was, but they that guy inspired a lot of comedians. What are people going to say about him 50 to 100 years from now? Are they going to be able to separate, his comedy from the man, or is it too closely tied together? And I, I don't know if there's a right answer. Like, obviously, he's a terrible person, but he had some great stand up comedy. Um, and it's like, for example, my mom and I were talking just earlier today about the actor Alec Baldwin. He's a hell of an actor, but boy, he's a little bit of an ass. Not just a little bit. He's a gigantic asshole in real life. And but I mean, he's had a lot of really great roles, uh, both dramatic and comedic, and it's wild. And I think today, now more than ever, artists are put under a spotlight because of this wonderful thing called the internet. Um, and it's up in the air on whether or not, you know, when somebody gets canceled or called out, how badly should they be punished? Or do they get punished enough? And there's no easy answer. Like there are going to be actors and film directors and writers that do terrible things. And then there are going to be ones that do like kind of just crappy things, but then they like lose everything. And I think the film analyzes that on all spectrums. Um, and it doesn't offer easy answers because that's life. That's humanity. Nobody's all good. Nobody's all bad. Some people are worse than others. Some people are better than others. Some people, you know, won't completely withstand the test of time because they're a product of their time. Um, and I think that's the themes that the film and its main character explores because she does really shitty stuff in the movie and but there are also like she also does great things. And she's not portrayed as completely evil. She's not portrayed as completely good either, or right all the time, or wrong all the time. Um, and it was just a very interesting character piece. I, um, it was a very different movie experience. I think this is the best like theater experience I've had since I saw Land, directed and starring Robin Wright. Completely different movie, but it was the same kind of experience where it wasn't like it didn't feel like I got off a roller coaster and I immediately forgot about it. And it's like I still had fun. It's it's a piece of art form that I'll be thinking about and I'll be wanting to talk to other people about. Um, and that's why it kind of stinks that nobody else was there. Like if at least one other person was there, I probably would have stopped them and be like, "Hey, what did you think? What'd you make of that?" Because like it's I just went on my own, um, which is fine. I mean, I didn't have to worry about somebody being next to me and suddenly like checking their messages, which drives me insane. Um, so, has anybody else seen Tar? What'd you think? Um, have you even heard about it? Comment below. Let me know. Um, and I'll see you around. NaNoWriMo is this month, so I'm hoping to do some live writing stuff. So you'll be seeing a little bit more of me, hopefully, within the next couple of weeks. Take care. Bye.